Hello, this is Joseph Potenza with his good friend Christina, and we are we're changing where we are, and because of the pandemic and all that. So, but we're here and we're separated, so that's why we don't have masks.
And that's because he got the shot and he's able to spread it to everybody because it's new in him. He has to wait to dose 2 for it not to affect anyone. And this is why the virus is spreading as badly as it is, because everybody who gets a shot takes their mask off and thinks they're not going to get it when it's fresh in their body, and they're spreading it to everybody. Y'all need to wear a mask. End of the story. Shot or no shot, keep a mask. So, prayer?
Dear Lord Jesus, thank you for this time to share your word. Please instruct us in your word as you want us to understand it, that we may be your true servants in this world through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Are you using the mic?
Yes.
No, you're not.
All right.
Now you are.
Let's go. Chapter 19. Now when Jesus had finished these sayings, he went away from Galilee and entered the region of Judea beyond the Jordan. And large crowds followed him, and he healed them there. Now the Pharisees came up to him and tested him, saying, "Is it lawful to divorce one's wife for any cause?" He answered, "Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, 'Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh.' So they were no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate." They said to him, "Why then did Moses command one to give a certificate of divorce and to send her away?" He said to them, "Because of your hardness of heart, Moses allowed you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery." The disciples said to him, "If such is the case of a man with his wife, it is better not to marry." But he said to them, "Not everyone can receive this saying, but only those to whom it is given. For there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men. And there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let the one who is able to receive this, receive it."
Are we stopping there?
Yes.
Mike? Okay. Go.
Well, this is so interesting. The most interesting line to me, when he said in verse 8, he said to them, "Because of your hardness of heart, Moses allowed you to divorce." Now, my question is, and it really can't be answered, but it's a question. When I read this, I really kind of shook. How many other things did God, quote, allow because Moses complained, and that he really didn't want? Either hard or soft or whatever. I don't know, but it does raise the question. Because of the hardness of your hearts, you complained, blah, 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 Moses allowed you divorce. I don't have an answer. I do know the whole marriage thing. And I have a friend who there was a book written in Protestant circles about how.
Can you put that closer to your mouth so they can hear you?
in Protestant circles how the Bible really does allow for divorce. In fact, there's an interesting line in that this gentleman quotes, where he basically says, I don't have the verse, but it says in the Old Testament somewhere, God divorced Israel. That's all, a lot of implications there. But the bottom line on all this is a contentious argument, goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I don't have an answer. I always liked what the people said when the whole debate started, which really led into the gay thing and the marriage thing for gays and bisexuals and blah, 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 is that, well, since essentially marriage is a practical thing, and it's really just a practical thing, it's not really, quote, sacred, unquote, in a sense, because it's practical. You know, all societies have it, they order their society that way, they raise the kids, blah, blah, blah. So, take the practical, put it all together, and you have what you have today. There is no way to stop the progression, and I won't bore you now, but I think I know where it's all going. It's just the way it is. Okay, I'm done.
So when Moses started to complain to God and saying, well, these men are too weak to stay with their wives, because they have multiple ones back in those days. They needed to get rid of one to add one, or just get rid of them all to wander off into another pasture of women. God knew that if he didn't give in and say, fine, okay, live your life like that. I mean, you see a lot of people today hopping from bed to bed to bed to bed to bed, marriage to marriage to marriage to marriage to marriage. They're not going to find happiness in that until they find the one that falls under God's rules. You fall in love, you get married, you two will be one forever with me, as long as this is what you really want, as long as this is what you're going to commit to. You're going to fight, you're going to argue, but you're going to want to work things out because you're in that sanctity of marriage, and it means everything to you. Marriage doesn't mean anything anymore to people. It means absolutely nothing. And so why do it? That's why people are running around doing what they're doing. Because why? Why should they be under contract with another human soul and say, I'm going to be with you forever and eternity, when they can just run free? That's all I'm going to say. And then the eunuch thing. There are a lot of us out there who choose not to sleep around, who choose to only be with one person, and after that one person has either A, hurt us enough to where we never want to sleep with another one, then there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with not